In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how we scaled this wellness brand from $200,000 per month to over $1.5 million per month just in the span of a few months, and this is all from email marketing. I'm going to show you the step-by-step. I recommend you watch until the end because I'm going to show you our exact strategy that you can pretty much copy-paste into your own business, especially if you're a subscription brand. So let's jump into the back end. All right, so jumping into the back end here, you can see that just within the last 30 days, as you can see over here, and I'll make sure to choose it again, you can see that we've attributed about 47% of their total revenue. So on their own, they're doing about 3.4 million, but 1.6 million of that is coming from us. And we actually started at a very different place. So if I go into the overview dashboard, you will see over the period of the last 12 months, how it actually looks and where we came in and scaled. And it's going to paint a very different picture. Now, again, I'm going to show you every single step that we took to get to this point. So they were running their own brand in February, March, April, and May. We came and took over in June, July, and you can see the huge uplift in results from that period. And you can see a very clear reason why that was is because when they were doing it themselves, up until about March, April, they were not getting really good results with their list, number one. And number two, they were not really pushing too much on ads. So what we decided on is we wanted to make sure that email was as profitable as possible, that we could take that profitability and redistribute it and make sure that the email revenue was as profitable as possible so that we could use it to fund the ads. That's exactly how your retention system should look. You should optimize for as much profitability from the email side and use that profit to refund the ads, and then you have a really healthy growth cycle. So what we did is we obviously took over in this period. So from May, we jumped up to 234K. We almost doubled in that month. Then the next month, we did actually double. And from there, it's been consistent growth month over month, which is how your email marketing revenue should look. And you can see that Black Friday actually matched up with December revenue. So it wasn't like this spike of a month where we were relying on heavy discounting, because the trick here is we don't do any discounting for this wellness brand. And I'm going to show you exactly how we do it. So first of all, these months is where we really saw scaling. So Black Friday was obviously the first period that we saw 1 million, but then we made that our new maintenance period. And you can see that just last month in January, we pretty much hit $1.5 million just from email, and that was our new high. So again, you can see that consistently we have maintained everything across the months. We haven't sacrificed anything. And if we take a look at the flows, you can see the best performing flows by a mile, and this is how yours should look as well, is the post-purchase flow, the abandoned checkout flow, and then of course we had a welcome series that was doing 10% instead of 15%. But we drafted that, we realized 15% actually outperformed, so we switched it. But the abandoned checkout, I'll show you the exact setup that we have and how we're able to do that. Now, first of all, let's start with the sign-up form, because the main metric of success that we have is optimizing for the most amount of submissions. And you can see that we get a 15.2% 30 days, pretty much subscribing to the newsletter. The way that we do it is we simplify everything. Keep in mind that we're moving over to Aliyah pop-ups, which I definitely recommend. But it's super simple. We split test this a ton. And the way that we did it is we just found out that people just need something simple. So we just say, hey, you got 15% off. Give us your email, unlock the 15%. We use this wording specifically. We're not trying to fluff up anything. We're not saying, hey, don't worry about getting too many emails. We're not doing what most brands do. We're just simplifying it. We have a clear CTA. We're using colors to our advantage. And the most important thing that we split test that made a huge jump in revenue is adding this. So instead of just adding an exit button, we're saying, no, I'll pay a full price. This negative feedback loop is really going to push them away from exiting. And instead, they are going to be a little bit more encouraged. And the most important thing is we show the code straight away instead of them having to fish around for it and adding friction. We're making it super simple, and you should do the same. Then next up is our sending strategy. So our sending strategy is simple. So if we just go take a look at the ones that have been sent in the last 30 days, super simple. So we're sending quite a few campaigns, about 4 or 3 a week. And that's the way it should be. So what you can see is that we're really optimizing for click rates and conversions. A lot of the time, what brands do is they optimize for click rates, but they sacrifice revenue as a result. But the reason why we're able to do this is because we're so specific with who we send to. You can see we're not just sending to the same list consistently. We're sending very different emails to very different categories of people. And what I see is the biggest mistake with most brands that we take on in the beginning is that their previous strategy wasn't working because they were just sending the same message to everyone. Now, the issue with that is they're not excluding people, they're not sending very specifically. Our strategy is simple. Number one, we are optimizing for conversions without sending discounts. And I'll show you what those emails look like. Then the second thing that we're optimizing for is we are trying to push for subscriptions. So obviously, if you're running a wellness brand or a subscription brand, you're going to understand how important this is. And so what we do is we're strategically excluding any subscribers from all of our sends. We never want to remind them that they subscribe to us, because every time they see an email from us, they're going to remember that and reconsider their subscription. So we exclude them from all of our sends very strategically. But what we are doing is we have never sent discounts. We never send discounts. We don't rely on discounts because our product is good enough, and we want to make sure that they're very trigger happy when they do see a discount. And so what we did strategically is in all of our sends, what we push as a discount, where most brands are doing 30% off monthly, we are instead pushing our subscription program like that is our monthly discount. And that is what you should be doing. Get your audience away from discounts and instead either push a loyalty program where they can earn points, or push them towards a subscription where they save 15%. And the key here is in all of our flows, we never, ever, ever have a discount that repeats itself. So even in the cart abandonment series, you'll see that they cannot get a repeat sale or discount. And so what happens is that we never have discounts that are bigger than the subscription, which means that the subscription is the best option they have to save with our products. So when we go take a look, you can see how much money in the last 30 days alone we have converted just from subscribers. So you can see if you did the calculation here, there is a ton of new subscribers, and the reason for that, of course, is because we're pushing the subscribe and save 15% instead of trying to get them to, get a discount and trying to dilute our sales. We don't want to do that. So that is the most important thing that we're obviously doing. Then aside from that, of course, every campaign is doing an incredible amount of revenue, with this one doing over 120K. And the interesting thing is that this is one of our best sellers, and we just pitch it super simply. So if we take a look at how this email performed, we're first of all optimizing for the best send time, which is, generally when they're at work. That is usually when they're buying these kind of products or late in the evening, and we usually send it off times. Now, if we just review this email, you can see it's super simple. We are designing emails that, number one, have a really good hook. So we always say, hey, you don't need coffee when you have these. So, people are immediately like, what do you mean? A huge database of our audience are coffee drinkers, and we know that. So we want to capitalize that, and we want to give them a reason not to use coffee. So this is a great headline, and this is going to keep people hooked. It's telling them, hey, you don't need coffee because you have these now. And then we also have info products they can easily understand, and then we show the best products for them so they don't have to do the thinking. Again, we consistently have call to action. So what most brands do incorrectly is when they send campaigns, first of all, they don't have a hook. They're overcomplicated. They're putting too much text, and there is no call to action above the fold, especially considering that this needs to be mobile optimized. So that's a huge thing that we go ahead and do. Then if we take a look at our next best strategy, what we're doing for this brand is we're sending a mixture of mostly 40% text only emails, and then the other 60% are image-based emails. So again, one of our best performers is just a shipping update, and it's plain text. Then if we take a look at this one is just a simple infographic. So we know what works really, really well. Take a look at this one, almost at 100K, plain text email, super short, super simple with a call to action. These are performing incredibly well for us, and we consistently use this across our clients. With all of our clients that generate the most amount of revenue, I would say that 90% of them are generating most of their revenue from plain text emails. Then let's go take a look at what really matters. Now, keep in mind that we're optimizing for subscriptions, and we also want to optimize for conversion. So when we take a look at the flows, if we take a look at the last 30 days, we know that the post-purchase and the abandoned checkout is the top performers. So take a look at this. Just the last 30 days alone, we generated $164,000 from the abandoned checkout. So if they didn't use us to set this up correctly, they would have been losing almost 200K per month. Same with the post-purchase flow. Most brands do not have an effective post-purchase flow. This actually ends up being the least revenue generating flow, which is a huge red flag. And you can see how consistently we're running split tests on all of the high action flows, like the browse abandonment, the cart abandonment, the checkout abandonment, and the post-purchase. We are consistently running split tests. Although we've been working with the brand for the last year, what most brands don't do and what most agencies don't do, because they're kind of scamming you, is they do not run consistent split tests. We are always trying to test text only versus image based. Then we're going to test the offer. Then we're going to test the time delay. Then we're testing the things that actually matter, including, different conditional splits. All of that really matters. And the best way to do that is consistently to make sure that you're adapting to your audience. So as of the time of recording this, you can see it's the 24th of February. And the last split test we've been doing is January and February. So we really stay on top of it. Now, when we go into the checkout abandonment, you can see essentially what we've been working on, right? And you can see the history of, when we've been doing certain adjustments. And so, for example, we've changed some filters, we've changed some different emails, we've added emails, we've done so many different things. So what happens here and why this is working so well is this subject line is a winner across the board. Brands, or the reason why brands kind of screw this up is, number one, they have too long of a time delay. Most brands have an hour or 2 hour time delay. We changed it to 30 minutes. We split tested. It works phenomenally well because the intention is so high in the checkout abandonment. Second thing that we split test across so many brands, because what most brands do wrong is they assume that the customer's forgotten their product. They haven't. They just don't trust you. And so we knew that. We knew that was an issue, and we also knew that shipping times was an issue. So what we did is we made it very clear. We ran some A/B tests and we decided on the best subject line. So the best subject line is your order is almost ready to ship. It has incredible place order rate. 10.8% of people that go through this flow are actually going to end up converting. We continuously do tests. We continuously see which ones are getting the most results. And what we've decided on is this structure. And this is what I recommend you test. So first of all, people-driven image is a huge contributing factor. And obviously I'm just clicking onto this so it won't show you what it should show, but it shows the product that they left behind. Immediately within the first 5 seconds, we're saying, hey, you left this behind, finish your order. The CTA is the best performer. Having an image of actual people is the best performer. And then showing a dynamic product block of their product that they left behind is great. And you have to do that. But the next trick that we use, or not trick, but the next tactic that we use that is the highest performing is we understand that they don't trust us. So we are putting in some of the best reviews that we have, and we're reaffirming the fact that we are trustworthy, that this product is going to get to them. Because the main issue is, number one, again, they don't trust us. So what builds trust is showing real people actually using the products. The next thing that builds trust, showing reviews. You do not want to complicate this by showing other products or showing, anything else. You just want reviews and you want to build that trust. Next thing we do is we wait a day. And what you can notice is this first email has no discount code, because we actually proved that our audience is not really, discount orientated or discount sensitive. We're actually doing the opposite. So what we want to do is want to make sure we tackle the actual pain points of why they got this far and didn't place an order, which is trust. The next one is pretty much pricing related. And you can see again, even though this is a second email, we have a 5% conversion rate on this email, which is very rare for the checkout abandonment. And with this one, this is where we first introduce a code. We make sure it's very clear. In the top fold, we show exactly what they left behind. We say finish your order, and we add different reviews. Again, now they've got technically 6 sets of reviews to see. They have a code now. So all of their pain points are counted. If they did have price sensitivity, that's immediately counted. And what we've just introduced in this flow is we have added this email where instead of continuously giving anyone that goes through this flow 15% off, anyone that has placed an order through this flow before will simply get a reminder and they will never receive a discount again. This way, we're going to push them towards the subscriptions. So hopefully that makes sense. Then you can see that what we do is we push some urgency. We say, hey, you only have 12 hours left. This again has a really high placed order rate. And the reason for that is because most people just leave this open-ended. They say, hey, just get 15% off. There's no urgency. That is a huge red flag. And this one, what we do, again, we just keep it simple, show a real person. We keep in this our shortest email. We make it very clear how long they have. And then aside from that, we send kind of a an extension email. And this one is a plain text email. Highly, highly recommend this is your strategy. Send 4 emails. The first one, no discount. The second one, a discount is introduced. The third one is kind of an espresso shot, last chance urgency push. And the last one is an extension and it's plain text. Super simple. So that is what is best performing. Now let's go take a look at the post-purchase and why our post-purchase is absolutely crushing it right now. So if we take a look, let's filter by the last 30 days, take a look at our post-purchase. Very simple setup. Again, highly recommend this. So when someone places an order, we allow re-entry because we want to make sure we're sending based on how frequently they purchase. Now, when someone places their first order, so if they've placed their first order, they go into here. And so what we do is we're just giving them an update on essentially, hey, we know that this is you placing your order. We just want to remind you, like in the next few days, we're just going to explain that everything you need to know. We're going to give you a walkthrough. We're going to explain exactly what you need to know. We're going to show you how to use a product. We're trying to make it simple. So the entirety of this email is super simple where we're just walking them through it. We're trying to give them an exceptional customer experience. Because if you think about the last time that you went to an incredible restaurant, probably 90% of that experience is going to be the service you received. How much attention did they pay to you? How much did you get from that? Even when you've gone to a terrible restaurant, if the service was good, it makes up for it. You don't even think about the bad food. And so this is exactly what we're trying to do here. We're trying to make it very clear that we're there for them. They can ask any questions. They can reply to this email. We have a customer support ready. So we're trying to make it as simple as possible. And so throughout this flow, you can see what we do is we essentially walk them through as much as we can. And then we want to give them a subscribe and save. So the entire intention of this flow is to push them towards a subscribe and save. We're trying to show them the savings. We're trying to show them an us first them so they can understand they made the right decision, and that if they're ever reconsidering reordering, they know they made the right decision there. But most importantly, we're trying to get them to subscribe and save. So this post-purchase acts as kind of a subscribe and save upsell, and that's exactly what you should be doing if you are a wellness brand with a subscribe and save kind of side factor. So those are the main things that we did. Number one, we optimize for subscribers to actually sign up to the sign up form. Second of all, we have a very clear sending strategy. So we send plain text and image-based emails. We send very simply, we do not send discounts, and we are very specific with who we're sending to. We're sending to 150-day engage, 120-day engage, and then most importantly, we're sending very different messaging to our non-buyers, our engaged non-buyers, and then we also are being very specific and nuanced towards our purchases. We're going to make sure that they're getting the best care, and we're also excluding subscribers. I highly recommend you do the same. Then what we do is we pose our subscription model as their discount of the month. I highly recommend that as well. Then obviously you saw the setup of our flows. I recommend you try that, do some split tests of your own, but we absolutely have a killer strategy here. And that's exactly how we've been able to scale so aggressively for this brand and get to the point where, we've essentially over the last year scaled them double almost every single month to the point that we're making over $1.5 million every single month just from email marketing. So what I would recommend is go down below. If you do want to work with a agency that knows exactly what they're doing with email, has been doing this for years and years, works with the absolute best brands, then go down below, book in a call. I would absolutely love to talk to you, see if we can help you, and hopefully I will see you on the other side. With that being said, I'll see you in the next one.